Another thing to consider for your big day is a wedding day hair accessory. There are so many to choose from, and sometimes the accessory will lead to the look or the feel of a wedding too. So definitely keep your eyes open. Some of my favorites to use would be like some beautiful brooch pieces. Even if you had maybe an antique brooch that was in your family, you could very easily convert it into a hairpiece. A lot of the brooch or the sparkly things that we see on the red carpet are actually vintage brooches, repurposed that way. So some really beautiful pieces to consider would be something like a brooch, or you could use this to accentuate almost any hairstyle, whether it was half up or half down, one side pulled up. A beautiful brooch or something shimmery is always nice. Another beautiful option would be a headband. There are so many beautiful headbands out, and there are some that are more traditional headband style like this, but then there are also some ribbon-based ones. Something like this. This is actually a double headband that you would wrap and tie around the nape of your neck, and it's also finished very beautifully on the ends. So something like this would also be great to consider. If you were thinking something with a little vintage nod to it, I think a great way to do that would be with a headband. This is a beautiful double headband that you could use for a very like jazz age updo, something very beautiful. So if you were doing something very classy or classic, something smoother and sleeker, I would definitely recommend something with a little bit of texture, maybe like a flower, whether silk or real. Also veils. Veils are a great accessory. Not every bride wants to wear a veil, but if you do, there are a dozen to choose from. You can place them anywhere within your hair. You can place them on the very top of your hairstyle. You can place them underneath. You could place them, like for a bird cage or a more vintage one, a little off center. So these are some great things to consider if you are looking for hair accessories for your wedding. So prepping your hairstyle is one of the most important things you can do. It's going to create the style that you want, make it last all day, and also be a softer, smoother finish. I think we tend to throw our hair up and put all the curls in, and then we think about hold and keeping it shiny and smooth at the end. So it's better to kind of build up your products as you go. So I would definitely recommend for prepping your hair, day-old hair, which means you would either wash it the night before you were going to do the hairstyle or the morning before. If you woke up that day and found that something was too oily or too greasy, you could always kind of just spot wash that section. That would usually be right around your front hairline. So you could rewash that and re-blow dry that. Or you could add a little dry shampoo. Dry shampoo also will help you get a fuller, more voluminous appearance at the end anyway, so it's not a bad thing to have to add. I would start with something with texture and a little bit of hold. So you could go with a texturizing spray like a beach spray, or you could do something that is meant to protect your hair against heat and offer a slight amount of hold to set your hair. So you would want to go through your whole entire head with that product. Next, you would want to curl your hair and finish the curls with a light, flexible holding hairspray. And you could do an aerosol or a wet, just depending on the look. Then you would want to tousle through the curls and recurl any that needed to be curled. And then you want to finish with a light, flexible hold, and then a very, very light mist of kind of a strong hold if you need it. I would avoid a super strong or super kind of plasticky, shellacked look if you can. And I think you can rest assured if you're following these steps, if you keep your prep time in order, you won't need to finish with such a strong, heavy hold. And you'll get a more movable, flexible, pliable look. So you'll keep your look very modern by avoiding that. So those are some tips about how to prep your hair. So a lot of brides ask me how to prep their hair for curly hairstyles. I would say if you have naturally curly hair, you want to consider if your curl is bigger or smaller than the look that you're trying to achieve, and also how you can make it look as polished as possible. So if you had curly hair like my curl, you could very easily take the curl and build upon it. So you could take a curling iron that was slightly larger than your actual curl and use it to finish your hair and add just, a little bit of shine to the hair, a little bit extra polish. And you wouldn't have to redo your whole head necessarily, but it would be great to just focus that on places that needed more polish and shine. You could also, I would say if your hair was much curlier than your desired look, I would consider getting a blowout, like a big, soft, wavy blowout the day before your big day, and then adding your curls over the top of it. The only reason I suggest doing it the day before is you have to think about how much you're asking your hair to do. If you're asking your hair to be straight one moment and then putting curls with a curling iron in the next, you might not get the wearability that you're going to want, especially for your wedding day. You want it to be beautiful and last all day. Another thing I like to do with curly styles is we like to see now a lot of curly texture kind of happening within the hairstyle, not just kind of in the back or at the end. So what you can do is you can put your hair in that style, leaving those couple pieces out around your face, curl those separately with a curling iron, and then drape them back and see if you like that look. That'll give it a curly texture within the hairstyle. So those are some great ways to prep your curly hair for curly hairstyles. I'm going to show you how to properly release rollers from your hair. I've already preset her hair. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the clip setting that I put on the sides and show you how to properly remove that, and then I'll show you how to properly remove the Velcro rollers. So with the clips, you want to pinch both sides of the curl, and you want to release your clip. You just want to softly drop the curl. But you can see by clipping the hair what a bit more volume than it gave us. Now for the Velcro rollers, remember we secured them with one bobby pin on each side. So the first thing that you want to do is, again, clip each side of the roll with your hands. Remove your pins carefully. There's no rush here. Now what you want to do is you want to take two fingers and you want to place them underneath the roller. So what you're going to do is you're unrolling the roller, but you have two little fingers right behind it that are keeping it secure. So you just release the roller, let it set. Moving on to the second, you want to pinch each side of the roller, remove the bobby pins, take two fingers, place it right at the base, and then your fingers are just going to follow the curl along. I lost a little curl on the side here, so I'm just going to place it back on the roller so that I can be in more control. If you get a tangle, just take your time and undo the tangle. But keep following all the way till the end. So then you can see, take and smooth each curl further, just twisting it, making it smooth. Keeps the integrity of the curl intact, but also lets you have that great volume that we like. So that's properly releasing the rollers from your hair. So some of the best wedding hair tips I have for you would be, the first of all, most important probably, is prepping. It's essential that you properly prep your hair for the day. So that means you want to start with kind of day-old hair. You want to add something for hold and texture throughout the style, not just at the end. So prepping the hair is really, really important. It'll allow you to have a better style as you're styling it, and then allow it to last longer in the long run. It'll also help you keep a little bit humidity-proof, wind-proof, a little bit of waterproof if that happens. So it's great to prep your hair first. Another one of the things I have is be really mindful of looking at how you're going to look that day as a full picture. So take in consideration the backdrop that you'll be in. Where's your event happening? What kind of dress do you have? What's the feel or emotion of the wedding? And take all that into consideration when planning your hairstyle. Another great thing to consider is the neckline of your dress and the shape of your face also. So if you have something that you feel uncomfortable about on your face, be sure that your hairstyle doesn't accentuate that. If you feel like you're going to be too exposed or overly exposed in your gown, be sure that you have hair down to cover that. One thing to also consider is ears. If you're a little uncomfortable with your ears, make sure that you don't choose a style that's really tight on the sides. You want something that kind of softly drapes over the top of them. It's good to consider what's good for photos too. You want to make sure that the hairstyle that you choose is beautiful from every angle. Remember, you'll be photographed all day long in different situations, so you want to make sure that everything is beautiful, not just the front or the back. You want to make sure that the sides are beautiful also. Also with photographs, you want to keep the hair to have a little bit of a mixture of kind of matte and shiny. You don't want everything super, super glossy because you lose some of the depth. One thing that I always tell brides too is if you've never considered it, it's a good time to add highlights to your hair. Even if your hair is very, very dark, you might want to just get highlights that are a couple shades lighter than your natural color, not necessarily blonde, but it shows extra dimension throughout the hairstyle. And if you do a really elaborate updo and you have all solid hair, sometimes you can't see the nuances of it. So a little bit of a lighter tone running through, something really soft and blended is really, really beautiful.